How's everybody doing? Tinkering with Harleys. I want to thank all of you who have subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching these videos and enjoying them, by all means, please subscribe. Last video I did, we were ripping down the project bike, the Heritage, and that's all done now, and it's completely disassembled. Engines out, transmissions out, frames outside, and I'm pretty much kind of halted on that at the moment because we got other stuff to do. So that project bike is going to fit in between the normal things I do. So that's going to be an ongoing project probably for the next year or two. And I try not to make videos where I've shown something already. And we got a bike in here now that came in, and I know I haven't made a video on this because it's a Sportster, and I haven't worked on a Sportster in a long time. But at any rate, a friend of mine bought a 2001 Harley 1200 XL or CL. It's a custom. Like I said, it's a 2001, only has 6,000 miles on it. It's a nice looking bike. If you look behind me, you can see it there. And they brought it in with a couple of complaints. One was hard starting when it was cold. The other was the throttle was sticking and a hard clutch lever. So we brought the bike in, and when the bike came in, obviously it was hot, so we couldn't go after the cold starting. So what we did do was we started to work on the cables. And what I did was I took the top cover off the throttle cables, up on the handlebars, and was going to lube them up and pull the cables out. And as I pulled the cables out, I started to lubing them, and I was working them back and forth. And I'll show you what I got. What we did, as I said before, we disconnected the throttle cables, we pulled them out of the housing, and we started to lube them up because it's a 2001 and it only had 6,000 miles on it. So I knew the cables were the originals, and they were, I'm guessing, gummed up, frozen. I know it sat for a long time. I oiled it up and I started working it back and forth. And this is a return cable right here. And as I was working it back and forth, I gave it a little tug, not very hard, and it broke. And that's why the throttle was hanging up. So, and if you can see on here, this is all solid rust. So I know this is the original cable. So that kind of stopped loosening up the throttle right away because it needs new throttle cables. And it's a push-pull setup, so we're going to be ordering those. But you can see from about here down, it's solid rust. So looking at that, the clutch cable, I'm assuming, is in the same shape because that's original also. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to order the clutch cable and the throttle cables, and then we'll address that. The next thing we did the following morning, we got this aside, we'll get this out of the way. The following morning, I went after the cold start, and the first thing I did was go and put the ignition on and went to grab the enrichener and pull the enrichener out, and the enrichener wasn't there. Now, this bike had an aftermarket fuel tank on it, and I looked all over. I just couldn't find the enrichener. It wasn't there. So what I did was I pulled the aftermarket tank off, and it's a nice tank. It was a stretch tank. And I was hoping the enrichener would be tucked underneath there and that whoever did the work didn't cut the cable. And lo and behold, when I took the tank off, there was the enricher tucked underneath the tank. And then I kind of looked at why he would do this, and what I got was, I looked at the motor mount, and this is the motor mount that came off it. And if you look here, it's all been ground down. You can see all the grind marks on it. Now, I've got another top motor mount, and this is what it's supposed to look like. So what they had done was they ground this piece completely off, which is what holds the enricher, and had ground this way down. You can see the difference of how much meat they took off of that, and consequently, this motor mount started to crack. So there's going to be a new top motor mount going on this. So talking to the owner, looking at the tank, and the tank does not belong on this model. So what was decided was we're going to get a stock tank for it, and we got to kind of hunt for that because Harley doesn't make them anymore. They're obsolete because it's so old. So we're going to hunt around for a tank and come up for a tank with a tank, and we're going to put this back together the way it should be. So we're going to get this mounted up and get everything attached to it. Well, that's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we're going to get another one out here pretty soon. So thank you all for watching, and everybody be safe out there.